Well, hello and welcome, folks. This is Christian Sadler. I'm calling out of Pleasant Grove, Utah, and this is your Renatus Founders webinar. We're going to go ahead and get this webinar started at the top of the hour. So in the meantime, I want to announce some of you that have joined us on the line and congratulate you for being here. So let's start that off with William Cooper, Richard Saling, Steve Obrook, Christy Raphael, Deerig Sheatham, Joseph Knight, Georgette Trammell, Marilyn Saunders, LaShawn Austin, Haung Nguyen, Rebecca Elam, Hira Sidhu, Devin Colon, Alan B.C. Slate, Mary D. Bacon, Jesus Acosta, Irma Rubio, Kiva Dees, Brittany Massey, and Sandra Hernandez. All of you folks, welcome to the line. Congratulations for being here. Let's continue on with Lavanka Ford, Cody Beardall, Lloyd and Diane Leftridge, Iris Hendrick, Mike Skerza, Valda Duhaney, Richard Safrant, Gina LeCoy, and Adrian Williams, Victoria Claiborne, Mary Orozco, Marco Ramirez, Juan Delgado, Robin Segarra, Joseph Sigornia, Amaris Brown, Susan Faye Ellis, Jason Lerma, Friend Henstrey, Cesar Aguilar, Guy Larson, Esperanza Alvarez Cardenas, Kishan Hebert, Michael Jones, Robert Brown, Kelby Woodland, Kevin Woods Jr., Gerard McLaughlin, Baltasar Aprecio, Loretta Dooley Wetzel, Justin Hugweg, Andre Little, and Tony Ulaski. All of you folks, welcome to the line. Congratulations for being here. Let me fit just a few more names in. Deslin Odell, Esterine Dahlstrom, Bud Anderson, Doug Leedy, Jeff Massey, Annette Deanham, Arif Khan, Gabriel Matache, Robert Odell, Jane Bundy, Russell Clegg, Deborah Poling, Andrew Carr, Anna Weaver, Jeffrey Napoli, LaShawn Cochran, Joseph Knight and Cindy Hanley, Christine DeVore, and Harris Morissette. All of you folks, welcome to the line. Congratulations for being here. You guys could probably tell that I was trying to scroll through names as quickly as possible and still pronounce the names while I'm at it. And folks, there's just so many more names, and there just is no more time. So if I didn't get the chance to welcome you personally, welcome, and congratulations for joining us here on the Founders Webinar and taking your business serious so that you could join us here. I have the opportunity and the privilege, like I do each and every week, to turn the Founders Webinar over to our founder, Mr. Bob Snyder. And Bob, as I turn this webinar over to you, I just have to say, like I've said before, and like I'll continue to say it again, and I'll mean it every single time, thank you so much for what you've created and what you continue to do to make this opportunity better and better for us as IMAs and as students. And I know I say that not just for myself, but for my IMAs and students all across the nation. Bob, thank you so much, and I'll turn the rest of this webinar right over to you.
Christian, thank you. You always make me feel good, and appreciate that, especially as we get going on the Founders Webinar, which is one of my favorite times during the week. And part of it is just listening to you take introductions as you introduce people from literally coast to coast and clear out in the islands of Hawaii. So welcome to everybody. We got a fantastic webinar planned for you this evening. But, before we get into all the details, we got a few weekly announcements. So kick back and pay attention because we got a lot of great information here to share with you. Here we go. I want to make sure that everybody is well aware of the fact that our drop cards that I introduced to you at the National Conference are all available for you in the Business Center. And it's really easy. All you've got to do is follow the on-screen instructions there, and you can go in, you can, download the files for those. You can take them to a printer and get them all dialed in so that you can start using those as pass-out cards, just like we introduced at the National. Another thing, I want to give you guys a little bit of a Helios update as well, because I know everybody is going, okay, when. And I do the same thing. Matter of fact, I do it every morning. I do it about noon every day, and then I do it about every evening, too, before I go to bed. I go, when. The IT team is doing the same thing, when. We have all sorts of conversations about that. The list of items still to be completed in terms of data migration and everything else is whittling down to a very, very, very few items. So we're close. We're really close. But unfortunately, we're not there yet. And that affects some of the other things that we had planned for as well. So I wanted to make sure that we get way out in front of this so that we can let you guys know that because Helios is delayed in its full feature release, that means that there's another thing that's going to be a little bit delayed too, and that is the Spanish content in marketing is directly tied to the amazing features and functionality of Helios. So unfortunately, we've got to postpone the launch of our enhanced services in Spanish until the full launch of Helios. Now, I know that's posing the question to every single person out there. You're going, okay, when? Stay tuned. We're going to give you updates. It's not going to be a long postponement, but we want to make sure that you know in advance so that you can plan accordingly. But it's our top priority to get the feature release that we have slated completely rolled out, which would, of course, allow us to get the Spanish content marketing side of things also in there. So hang on, man. It won't be long, I promise. It's just an exercise in patience for all of us. And I think that by the time we're done with this, we will be able to withstand just about any delay or any kind of urgent need, knowing that the day will come. We just need to wait patiently until it does. So hang in there. All right, we got a few things. Here's a date that you can count on. That's the beauty of classes. I mean, we put out our online classes and we say it is live education week. It happens. We don't have to worry about it. There's not going to be any kind of postponement or any kind of delay. It just happens. It's such a simple, easy thing. June 20th and 21st, that's a Thursday and a Friday. We've got Rob Sperry in the studio to teach us all about social media marketing. It's going to be a fantastic day with Rob. He's really going to help you understand that side of life and business. And then on Friday, Jeff Armstrong is doing a third day of seller finance notes. And some of the content that he's prepared, it's mind-blowing. You do not want to miss these two very impactful days. You can get registered in the Business Center to actually come and attend live and in person in the studio, or you can view it live and, stream it live across the internet and watch it at home. Now, that's only if you own the Extreme Plus package, because these classes are a part of that class offering. So just keep in mind, June 20th, 21st, special days. Don't want to miss them. All right. Moving right along. We do have some great news for you, and here it is. Video Library Foreign Language Feature. Yes. So, for instance, it's available. That means if you want to go into, the video library, for instance, with my Generally Speaking London edition vlog that we just put out, number one, you just go to the Helios Video Library. Number two, you select the video and click play. Number three, you click on the settings icon and then click on Subtitles CC. Subtitles CC. When you've done that, you're going to start getting subtitles in English. Well, here's the nice thing. Number four, all you've got to do is select Auto Translate. Auto Translate. And then you get to choose the language. You can select your language from over 100 choices. This is a YouTube-generated subtitle program. You've got to remember that it is a wonderful software. It is not 100% accurate, but it'll get you there so that you can listen in English and you can also read subtitles in your own language. And it's pretty exciting to see that we've got over 100 choices that are available for you there. So just another nice feature that you get to enjoy as you go into the video library and you enjoy the foreign language feature. All right. Hey, the Renata Sneak Peeks. Renata Sneak Peeks, you've been asking about these since the national conference. These are shareable 20 to 30-minute overviews of key Renatus wealth and prosperity principles. You can find these videos in Helios, not in one place, but in two different places. You can go in under Training Nationals 2019, and you can find each of these wonderful videos I'm going to introduce, or you can go into the video library and you can search Sneak Peek. Searching such an easy feature that Helios has integrated into it. So video library, search Sneak Peek, and that's going to pull these videos forward for you. So you're going to be able to get Velocity Banking with Christian George. Now, anybody who was at the Thursday night cash recovery party at the national conference, you'll be able to remember the excitement and the incredible delivery for the Velocity Banking course that was there. It was really just a sneak peek, but it was all about, presenting to you an example of what a cash recovery party could look like. what we've found is that there's a lot of folks out there in the Renatus community who would love to step into the role of educator, but they're not there yet. And many times they say things or do things that are inaccurate. The best way for you to accurately represent the principles and the strategies taught in velocity banking is from one of our esteemed instructors. Christian George was the instructor on that Thursday night when we did the velocity banking cash recovery party. And now we've got, a 20 to 30 minute snippet there for you to be able to replay at your own cash recovery party so that your guests can get a sampling of the kind of quality education that we have available. In addition to that, we've got Renata Sneak Peeks with Mark Kohler. That's right, because he did a whole section on taxes and tax savings and paying your kids. And this is another powerful way to demonstrate, well, the great strategies, the great education that we offer, and that at a cash recovery party, you can show folks not only how to save money on their interest and save money on their mortgage, but save money on their taxes, which are two of your very largest expenses in life. So think about that. You can start using these instead of, feeling like you need to be the expert in front of the room. All right. We've got a web feature focus. And this time it's social media. Social media. Man, I'll tell you what, we have got so many great things out there. We've got the Renatus Facebook page. We've got the Renatus Twitter page. We've got Instagram, My Renatus LLC. We've got our YouTube channel with Renatus. Here's what we would encourage you to do. It's a challenge that Jay Stark is throwing down to you personally. The challenge is this. You like it, you link it, you comment, and you share it. It's time to get the word out about all the incredible things that are taking place in this community, how we are changing lives from coast to coast, and now eventually that will take place around the world. There's so many good things that are transpiring in Renatus right now that, that we've just got to do a better job of helping to get the word out. So please assist us in that effort and assist yourself as well, because if you like it, you link it, you comment and share it, you're more likely to expose good people to what we have. They might just want it. And if they want it, then they're going to buy it, and you're going to be able to enjoy the benefits of that. So help us, help yourself as we move forward to expose the nation to what Renatus is all about. Hey, we've got to remind you that we've got a leaders retreat coming up. That's right, August 9th through the 13th is the 2019 Renatus Leaders Retreat in Panama. Now, I know at the national conference, I certainly explained why I absolutely love Panama and why I believe that you're going to love it too. But one of the purposes for us to get together as leaders is so that we can teach and train and share ideas, which is what our 4-hour training on Saturday, August 10th is designed to do. I'm going to take the stage and I'm going to work together with some of my key leaders, and we're going to share with you money-making ideas and activities that will help your business thrive, not just survive in a marketplace, but thrive in a marketplace. And I'm so excited to be able to share that information with the leaders of the company, because that's where you're going to be, is at the Leaders Retreat. Now, we're also doing small group get-togethers and trainings. You could refer to them as a small group mastermind. It's going to be with myself or a PAC member on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon. You can actually sign up, get yourself registered, so that you can go on to the Renatus calendar. As long as you're registered for the Leaders Retreat, you can go onto the Renatus calendar and you can book special time. Now, when we say small group trainings, we're only talking about 8 people. We're capping it at 8 people. So you want to have breakfast with myself or a PAC member? Sign up for Saturday morning. You want to get together with us for a little afternoon session? Sign up. Get on the calendar, and let's make this thing a rocket event. All right. We also have a great big excursion with myself and the PAC on Monday, August 12th. It's the Panama Canal Partial Transit, where we're going to take a big old boat over to the Panama Canal, and we're going to do some fun things to show you how those locks work and teach you a little bit about the history of Panama and how the canal came into being. How it started with the French. They couldn't get it finished, and the Americans had to come in and take it over, and boy, we turned it into a fantastic success that we could eventually turn over to the Panamanians, which has improved and changed their life and their country in extraordinary ways. It's going to be great. I can't wait to take you with us. Now, it's limited attendance, limited seating on the boat. I think it's 120 or 130 people is all. So you want to make sure that you get yourself registered quickly so that you don't miss out. You must be either 5-star qualified or 1-star qualified with 5 active IMAs underneath you. One of those, 2 ways. If you're 5-star, hey, you're good. If you're 1-star and you got 5 active IMAs underneath you, then you're also good. You can register yourself and come with us to Panama. But you do not want to delay because registration is live in the Business Center right now. And I mean right now. Our deadline for this is July 1st. July 1st is the cutoff for the Leaders Retreat. If you're not registered by July 1st, then unfortunately you're not going to be able to come with us. So we won't want to see anybody left behind because there's too many great things that are going to be shared and experienced with your leaders. This is a networking opportunity unlike any other. We have really taken all the barriers down to ensure that you're going to have massive access to the top income earners in the company as well as myself so that we can answer questions, we can give you ideas, we can brainstorm, and we can help you in understanding how to take your business to the next level. Hey, our charity of choice. We introduced our charity of choice, Operation Underground Railroad, at the national conference. As a matter of fact, we gave a special award to Tim Ballard, the founder of that incredible charity. And we participated in supporting him and his great work. We're going to continue to do that, and we're making plans to help them in a very big way. But I want to encourage you each week on the Founders Webinar, if you've not already done so, man, text to donate. All you got to do to donate to this incredible charity where we can literally save children's lives is text Renatus to 41444. That's the short code, 41444. And that will give you options for either a one-time donation or you can set it up on a reoccurring donation on a monthly basis. But this is something that if you're at the National, you understand the power of this incredible charity, the work that needs to be done, and how many children are enslaved as sex slaves around the world who need to be freed, and they need the aftercare help and treatment that this great organization provides. Well, we can be modern-day abolitionists, and I challenge you to participate with myself and others in doing just that. Hey, let's go into the Renatus Weekly Top 10, shall we? Renatus Weekly Top 10. Man, we've got ourselves a great lineup this week. These are the top 10 IMAs who had the most guests in attendance on webinars and presentations last week. In the number 10 position, Tracy Poley, 19 guests. Jerry Gelderman, hey, 21 guests. Congratulations to you, Jerry. Number 9 this last week. Number 8, well, that would be Karen and John Gill with 23 guests. Then we've got Ruben Aquino with 24. He landed in the number 7 position. Jack Rohde took the number 6 slot with 25 guests. And breaking into the top 5, that's Sharon Zanotti with 26. Ferry Ajaya and Grace Maria at 28. That landed them in the number 4 position. And who's number 3? That's Tom and Shelley Hierman. 30 guests this last week, so congratulations to you. Well, Ricardo Beecham, number 2, with 45 guests. He was raising the bar a little bit there. And then, hey, one of our own PAC members, man, Mr. Michael and Vanessa Huggins. 57 guests landed him in the number 1 position this last week with the most guests in attendance at presentations and webinars. How about the event hosts? You know, we always got to give a shout out for them because this is a shout out not only for the event host, but for the entire team. Here we go. Number 10, we got Mr. Kevin Tuttle down in Orlando, Florida. Number 9, well, that goes out to Jim Holmes and Debbie Worthington out in Sewanee, Georgia. And then Antonio Lobos in the number 8 position, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Congratulations to you, Antonio. Hugh Zaretsky and the New York City team locked down the number 7 spot. You got Ferry Ajaya and Grace Maria up there in Bellevue, Seattle area. Well, they're number 6. Breaking into the top 5, that's Wendy and Brian Bullock, together with a couple of their partners in this deal. And when I say partners, I mean, you know, a couple of the good leaders, other fellow pit team members that are there in Southern Cal. That's Noah Oliva and Mario De Leon. Then we've got in the number 4 position, Dr. Gary and Sylvia Lawrence in Scottsdale, Arizona. Zach Ullman and Sumari Centenio Leon out of Phoenix, Arizona, locked down number 3. Number 2 spot, well, that went to Michael and Vanessa Huggins and Christian Sadler out here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And then back on top again, number 1 this week, just like every week, Scott and Nancy Rowe, Mr. Bob Tierney out in Chicago, Illinois. Well, that's our top 10 IMAs, our top 10 event hosts. Now it's time for us to go into the featured story of the week. And, you know, we always ask the question, what's your story? I believe that each and every one of us have a story that's powerful. and that it needs to be heard. Well, we've got a great couple that are with us on the Founders Webinar this week. That's right. Skylar and Sarah Jess are going to come out and help you better understand, how you get started and really rocket this thing to the moon in short order. So, Skylar, Sarah, thanks for being our featured story. Come on out here and get the nation acquainted with you.
Hey, thanks so much, Bob. Can you hear us? Are we on?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Wonderful. Well, it's an incredible pleasure and an honor to be invited into the featured position this week. It means a lot to us. I'm here with my wife, Sarah.
Hello. Thank you so much for having us.
And just the opportunity to share our path and journey a little bit here on this webinar. I mean, it's definitely been a journey. I won't discount that, but it's been incredible, life-changing. For myself, I came from a background of being in the service industry as a restaurateur, as well as an artisan. I was a ceramic artist and massage therapist, and I was just completely worked to the bone doing 3 jobs that I really enjoyed. But at the end of the day, 12, 14-hour days into it, I didn't have much to show. My rent went into a little jar that I had made, and that's my bank account kind of was a cookie jar essentially. And so my financial IQ, even though I was well educated, was not very high. And I didn't want to be living in a midlife Chrysler down the road when I was 40 and not have any idea where I was going. So we needed to kind of turn the ship around. I'll let Sarah share a little bit of where she was coming from.
Yeah, so I was working as a mental health professional, and it was the quintessential overworked and underpaid. I would triage clients in crisis situations for suicidal, homicidal ideation. It was scary, it was dangerous, and we really weren't living our best lives. We weren't living to our full potential, and we knew that we had something much greater for ourselves out there. And so when we cast that vision for ourselves, that's when we found Randall. And it's been such an unbelievable journey. We've grown so much as individuals, but also as partners in business and in marriage, and we're just both really blessed for this opportunity.
Yeah, and so it's really allowed us to kind of create the new blueprint and fabric for our life. And we now run multiple businesses. Multifamily investment is one of our areas we're focusing on. Short-term Airbnbs. We're under contract on 6 units in Florida we're set to close on. And building a team here in Denver that is just truly incredible and inspiring to be around other people that have a shared vision and kind of a similar path that we can all walk together, learn to speak the same language, and just have it be a team effort. And it's really beautiful when you can share the experience with somebody else. And for me, especially with my wife, it's been a true blessing to do it in partnership. And one of the things I'd like to highlight tonight is the velocity banking, since that'll be a transition piece, and what I've been able to do with my father. So my dad was a former mathematician, and he's a numbers guy. And when I talked to him about some of the content in velocity banking, what I was learning in Renatus and this educational system that was changing my life, he was like, I don't know about that. I was like, just run your numbers. And so, he took his own time. He plugged in his numbers, and he was like, wow, this would actually work. And so what we did was we did an advanced form of velocity banking on his house, and we did a first position HELOC swap on it. And it freed up so much for my dad in his life. We actually leveraged some of the equity from that HELOC to do a pretty major renovation on another property that we owned, down to the studs, and turned it into this really cool industrial modern cabin that we're going to be running as a short-term Airbnb. And for my dad in particular, he was going to have to pay over the next 22 years to pay off his entire mortgage. And by doing this advanced velocity banking, he'll now be able to pay it off in 4 to 7 years, depending on how many vacations he takes in the next few years. He just got back from Portugal, where we're looking at maybe some property in southern Portugal. And so it's just been this beautiful and unique journey that is allowing me to build that wealth with my family and build a legacy with my dad. And it's been really beautiful to have that experience. And, something that I hope that all of you listening out there in the world get the chance to share with others and really change lives, because it's real and it's there. And there's so many things that I could share. I mean, from the real estate that I'm involved in to just how we've changed personally. Sarah, is there anything you'd like to speak to on that?
Yeah. So just kind of echoing what Skylar said, like we've grown up so much. If you had told us 5 years ago that this is where we'd be today, I wouldn't believe it. And we've experienced some pretty cool successes, and truthfully, this is just the beginning. We're building a foundation right now that we're really excited about, and I think both of us are just super excited to see where it takes us and how we can, change the trajectory of our family's lives as well.
Yeah, and I think just building a team here in Denver and growing our Renatus group has been incredible as well, and that we get to choose the people that we want to work with. And not only that, we get to help people in really serious and effective ways that can change their lives. And I just feel really blessed to be a part of not only Renatus here in Colorado, but around the nation. And it's really a privilege to be able to have that national voice speaking to everyone tonight, and just getting that place today at the table with Bob and with everyone here. So we really appreciate that, and are just so grateful for being here.
It's a true privilege and an honor to be here. So thank you so much for having us as a featured story. Big shout out to our team in Denver. We love you guys, and shout out to the whole nation. Thank you.
Yeah, and don't give up. Just keep working hard, and don't stop. Just don't ever stop. Don't give up.
What a fantastic story, man. And thank you for being our featured story. It was great to have you out here. And, the nice thing about it is we are just one big nationwide family. And now people will be able to put a face with the name. So as your story continues to grow and expand, they'll remember these days on the Founders Webinar when you came out and said hi. And I'm sure it won't be the last time that we hear from you as well. Keep up the good work, you two.
Thanks, Bob.
All right, it's time for us to move along here. We have got a great training planned for you this evening, and I'm so excited that so many of you have decided to join us. Our featured training of the week is on Velocity Banking and the new Velocity Banking app. Oh, it's going to be great. Earlier we talked about the release of our cash recovery party videos with Christian George as well as with Mark Kohler. But most of you probably associate the Velocity Banking course together with the instructor who is traveling the country the most to go out and teach those principles, and that's Randall Cloud. So it's really exciting for me to have Randall with us on the Founders Webinar this evening. But before I introduce Randall and give him all the accolades, there's a few things that I just wanted to mention. First of all, the Renatus Velocity Banking app guide. Here's the beautiful thing about it, folks. I'm going to show you how to get this thing downloaded because it's going to be available to you in just the next few days. So stay tuned for your email. As soon as the iOS and app stores give us that final clearance, then we're going to have this thing live and available for you to download. It's in their hands at this point. We're just waiting for the green light, and it's going to happen just within the next few days. So, all you got to do is when it becomes live and available, you go in and you download from the App Store on your device. This will install on either Apple or Android. And then once it's installed, here's the nice thing about that is that you're going to be able to go in and then, register it, or I should say, log in and start working with this thing. So you sign in and you'll need to accept the terms of use. Now, I'm telling you how to do this, right? You need to also walk your guests through this because this isn't just available to customers of Renatus. This is available to our guests as well. And we want as many of them to be able to enjoy this cool little tool because it's going to be able to show them how they can benefit from this amazing strategy. And just give them a little sampling, one additional sampling of the education and the tools and the programs we have available for them in Renatus. And this is a big one. I mean, it really is. As much excitement and energy as there has been around the Renatus Velocity Banking strategy, this app is going to, again, just be another feather in your cap. Now, as you enroll someone in downloading the app, they're going to follow the same process that you did. It's really easy. They're either going to go, well, they go to the App Store, they either go to Android or they go to iOS. They download the app, and then they're going to need to click on the terms of use. And here's the beautiful thing, is that they're going to need to consent to the terms of use and privacy policy, which then helps us in terms of being able to communicate with them effectively. When they hit get started, now they're going to be able to go right into the app. And then from that point forward, well, they're going to be able to put in their numbers and get an idea as just how much interest they can save and how quickly they can pay off their debt. The individual that I brought out here on the Founders Webinar to help each and every one of you better understand the power of this incredible app and system is none other than Mr. Randall Cloud. Now, many of you know Randall because Randall's he is not only one of the 3 individuals who were with me in the beginning, he is the number 1 individual who was with me in the beginning. When I created my business plan and concepted everything around Renatus for the creation of this business, Randall was the first guy who put his hand in the air and said, I want to be a part of this. We started working Renatus out of my home. He started building Excel spreadsheets so that they would complement the business plan that I put together. He was the very first IT guy, the very first customer care guy, the very first graphic artist, the very first content specialist. He wore a lot of different hats. And then over the years, he continued to just expand the value and the expertise that he offered to the company to such a point where, we got to a position where it was like, I don't know how we could ever live without him. And then one day he came into me and he said, you know what? I love Renatus and I love this opportunity and I love her education. And I feel like it's time for me to go out and be an entrepreneur and go start doing real estate deals and go start marketing the education full time. Now that was tough, not only because he was such a valued team member, but also because he's my son-in-law. And, I like having him around the office. But Randall decided that it was time for him to go out and make big things happen. He also became a master of the velocity banking strategy. So we brought him in as an instructor. Well, actually, he became an instructor before he ever left as one of our staff members. And he's just done an incredible job on all fronts. He's crushing it in real estate. He's doing a great job. He gets out there and does intensives. Each of you know him. You've come to love him and understand him. And I am about ready to kick the presenter controls over his way so that you can listen to him as he shares with you how this incredible app can transform you and your customers' lives by piquing their interest further in why they would want to get involved in Renatus. So, Randall, come on out here, buddy. I just kicked the presenter controls over to you. So if you receive them, we should be able to see your desktop. And the call is yours, my friend.
Okay. Thank you very much for all that you said. First off, I want to point out that Bob said I was number 1 of the 3. He didn't say I was first of the 3. He said I was number 1. So out of the 3, Adam Cloud, Jay Stark, and myself, I'm number 1. So that's official from Bob's mouth.
Thanks. In true to form, just like one of my kids, you're going to pick a fight with your siblings for me. Thank you.
I have to sometimes. Okay, I am so excited about this. I have been waiting for this moment for years. Many of you have seen the little Excel calculator that I put together years ago and that I've been updating and upgrading over the years. It's gotten better and better. Very recently, I made it so it could pay off 10 debts at a time, albeit a lot slower than this app is going to. So I am just so excited to see it. See, the problem was I wanted to create this app all along, but I'm not a developer. I do know how to use Excel though. So I decided to create my app in Excel, which just, it's a good app or a good calculator. It does a lot of fun things, but it's not very pretty. It's not super easy for everyone to use. You don't have it with you all the time like you have an app on your phone, and not everyone could understand how to use it all the time. The app, I think, is a lot better. In fact, as I was preparing for this presentation to figure out what I was going to train people on, the more I went through it, I was like, do I really have to say anything other than here's how you open the app? Because they have made it so well that it pretty much just walks you through what you need to do. You don't need me to teach you, but I'm going to teach you anyway, because that's what we're here for. Okay, so first thing you're going to do, as Bob said, is install the app, available on Android and iOS. And once you have it, you're going to open it. Now, I'm going to have to open this a few times because I want to show you this. Oh, isn't that so pretty? But then the problem is it goes away and you actually have to start using the app. And so I'll just sit here over and over again and close it and open it. So props to Angie and anyone else who was involved in coming up with that logo and that screen. It looks so pretty. I love it. Okay, so you open up the app, and as Bob said, you're going to have to sign in. Whoever's using it's going to have to consent to the terms of use, put in your name. My name happens to be Randall Cloud. You'll want to put in whatever your name is. It will probably be different than Randall Cloud. And then you'll have to put in your email address and consent. I highly recommend that you actually read the terms and conditions before you mark the box and hit get started. But then you're going to get started. And see what I mean? It walks you through this. I don't have to teach you anything. It's right here. It says, first, enter the loan, line of credit, income, and expenses, then proceed to Velocity account. Select which line of credit to use as your Velocity account and see how the Velocity banking strategy can benefit you. Okay, so what does that mean? Down here at the bottom, you have a bunch of different things you can fill out. You're going to add all your loans to the loans page, all your lines of credit to the lines of credit page, all your incomes to the income page, your expenses to the living expense pages, and then we're going to get over here to this side. I know that seems really intuitive, and that's because it is. Okay, so let's get started. I'm just going to walk you through how to do the app the first time, and then we'll talk about a few things on each page, answer some clarifying questions preemptively, and then we're going to run through maybe a scenario or two and just really see how this works. I have open on my other screen that you guys can't see a whole bunch of debt, how do I say this? A bunch of examples of debts that I've collected from people over the years as I've been flying around the country and talking to people and helping people figure out their Velocity banking strategy. So I'm going to pull from some of those and we're going to do this. So the first thing you're going to do is enter the name. You can enter a very creative name or you can just call it what it is. You may have multiple things, so you could call this Mortgage One if you know you have more coming up. And then you get to choose terms. You'll notice the terms are in years. Now, when we say term, that means how long is the loan for? And I don't mean how long from now. And I think that's something that, people might occasionally think, hey, how long is a loan going from now? It's how long was it when you started? It was a 30-year fixed mortgage. So I'm going to put in 30 years. Then you want to know the interest rate. Call this one 4.5%. The original balance when you started the loan, this one we're going to say was $350,000. And then the current balance today. This person's been paying for a couple of years, so they're down at $320,000, and then the payment. Most of you, if not everybody, should have a mortgage payment significantly higher than what this minimum payment here says. And so when you're doing this, this is what did I just hit? Oh, apparently I can swipe on this thing. If I use my mouse and drag over it, changes slides. That's cool. So when you swipe with your finger on your phone or your tablet, it'll switch pages. That's fun. I've never done that before, as you can tell. That's my name. So mortgage, 30 years, interest rate 3.5%, original balance, we had 350,000, current balance is 320,000. And then, so the minimum payment is, what would it be if you were only paying, if you were paying just the absolute minimum to get it paid off? Now, most mortgage payments have escrow accounts, taxes, they may have private mortgage insurance or something like that on top of it. So your payment's usually going to be higher. This says the minimum payment. Holy crap. No one even told me that I had that wrong. Fortunately, I saw it. So one downside to webinars, you can't hear anyone speaking. I'm sure like 50 people are going like, there's millions there. That's not right. So the payment, if the minimum payment is $1,436, someone realistically has something closer to, $1,700. We're going to go ahead and save that. And you'll see it down here. You'll see what any debts you have. So you could go ahead and add another one. Say you also have a car loan on top of that, and that was a 5-year loan, interest rate of 2.99%. It was $15,000 when you had it, and now it's down to $12,000. And the payment is $215.57. Okay. So next you'll enter lines of credit. These could be credit cards, they could be home equity lines of credit, or any other kind of line of credit that you might have. You may have a $500 overdraft that you want to include in this, anything that you want to include in your lines of credit. So I'm just going to put in a scenario where somebody already or has a home equity line of credit that they got, but it's completely paid off right now, because we're just going to make this easy on ourselves. The interest rate is currently at 5.5%. Credit limit is, let's say it's a $20,000 home equity line of credit, and it doesn't have a balance right now. So we save that there. This person also has a Capital One card at 25%, because that's what Capital One does. Credit limit is $2,000, and they owe $1,000 right now. And they owe a $50 payment monthly. Okay, then we go over to income. One of my favorite things about the app versus the Excel spreadsheet that I had before is the ability to choose a type of schedule for your income. So for those of you who don't know, my calculator on Excel, to make it simple for everybody, just assumed that you got paid twice a week. So whatever you put your monthly income at, it divided it by 2 and paid you on the 1st and 15th, which just isn't true to form. And we want to be as accurate as possible with people's numbers. So here you can put in, this is my job. Oh man, they need more characters there. I can't put y'all. And then we're going to say you get paid twice a month, and you get paid $2,500 a month. Or sorry, $2,500 every 2 weeks-ish. So twice a month you get $2,500 for a total of $5,000. So I really like that you can add these. You know, you may have incomes that come in. The number 2 most asked question when I travel the country and teach this, when we're going over the calculators, people asking, but what happens if I have income that I only get sometimes, or once a month, or once a year? And now you can put that kind of stuff in here. You can say, well, I have something that I only get monthly or every other week. Some people get paid weekly. So it can match a lot more to what you're doing now. So when we come over living expenses, one of my favorite things about the app that wasn't even in the design I gave them when I originally came up with the design for this app, I didn't put this in, so I don't know who came up with it, but it's genius, is to show all of your loan payments down here, because a lot of people have a tendency to want to include those in their living expenses. That is the number one biggest problem I've had with people, is when they come to me and say, hey, this isn't working, can you help me figure out why my numbers aren't working? And I walk through it with them, and it's because they've already put in all their loans and debts, and then they're going ahead and adding that in and saying, oh yeah, I pay $5,000 a month for total expenses. But that's not true, because they have less. So let's say that we have another, and for the sake of this presentation, I'm just going to put in one living expense, but you could put in as many as you want. You can use this to create your budget. Many of you have probably already created your budget, or you're using some app or software to help you track your budget. So you already know what you spend monthly. And you can just come in here and put in the total and say, yeah, we spend as a family $2,400 a month. And then you get to see your living expenses right there. Now, maybe instead of that, you actually want to use this to break down your budget. And you say, for food, we spend $500 a month. For utilities, we spend $200 a month. For our insurance, we spend $500 a month, and so forth and so on. You can kind of add as much as you want. Break this down, and it's kind of cool that this can act as a budgeting tool now for you as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw in another $1,000 of expenses here. And then when you reach the velocity banking screen, so it again walks you through this. It says the line of credit you select as your debt reduction account will be used in calculations to reduce all your other debts through chunking. And hopefully that makes sense to you. So basically what it will do is it'll give you a place where you can choose which of your lines of credit you want to use as your velocity banking account. You could use that Capital One card, but as many of you know, when I've taught the class or when I've come out and taught you in person, I highly recommend using a line of credit that has a larger limit than your total income and or expenses. So in this case, the HELOC makes the most sense. It's a lower interest rate. It has more limit. It's just a better option. So we go ahead and we pick that. And then it's actually going to start paying off each of these debts one by one. Now, the development team asked me at some point, and I get asked this question when I travel the country too, what order do I pay off my debts in? And that's a very complicated question, but the easiest answer to that is by paying off the smallest debt first and then working up to the largest debt. There are occasionally a situation where you may want to pay one first, that's one of your larger debts, but you're just going to have to go to the class to figure out when that situation is. So we go ahead and we pick the HELOC, and then we want to choose the debt reduction amount. Many of you may know this as the chunking amount. Chunking isn't a very pretty word, so we don't call it that on this app. It's just not as pretty. So we call it the debt reduction amount. So we are going to reduce other debts by, let's say we gave us a $20,000 limit, so we're going to do $15,000 chunks or reduction amounts. And because we're doing $15,000, we can actually wrap this car loan and the credit card into the very first debt reduction amount, and then start with those. And then after that, I'll start the mortgage. So immediately in Velocity Banking, that means we're going to pay off these two loans, eliminate this much of required payments. You'll still have your interest payment over here for the $15,000, or for the, I guess it's only $13,000 that will be on there, but it's going to help us eliminate two debts right off the bat. So we'll go ahead and save this information. And now I'm making this take a lot longer than it would when you're doing it yourself. If you already have all your numbers, this is just going to be so fast. You can come in, enter all this information. Okay, I'm hitting do not show again. I've been deliberately not hitting that so that when I did the presentation, I could actually show you, but I've shown you, so now I can get rid of that. And we hit finish. And this is the exciting part. You guys can't see it, but I'm over here rubbing my hands together. I'm super excited. Okay, so you will use HELOC as your Velocity Bank account, which has a limit of $20,000 and a 5.5% interest rate. Your total monthly expenses are $4,165 and total monthly income is $5,000. Okay, show us what happens. So on the graph page, you can see up here, this is where your debt would be without Velocity Banking. It would take you into 2049 to pay it all off. This is where it will be with Velocity Banking. We're going to go ahead and pay it off in 2032. If you want to see that a little bit better, you can see right here, it says it saves you 16.83 years. It tells you the exact date that you'll become debt-free, how much total interest you saved, or sorry, interest saved is over here, how much total interest you have without Velocity Banking, how much total interest you have with Velocity Banking, and your total interest saved, $113,000. Not bad for this hypothetical person that I just completely made up numbers for. It shows you all your debt as a summary so you can remember this, shows you all your income, shows you your living expenses on top of that. So gives you a really nice breakdown. And this is a great tool. So for any of your guests that you're showing this tool and you're having them go and download this app on their phone and they're running this scenario for themselves, they can then take this and use this as a one-stop shop to see their entire report. They can even print the page out if they want to, keep that with them as a little token of how awesome it's going to be when they get completely debt-free. And so that's pretty much the entire Velocity Banking calculator from start to finish. Now, let's go talk about a few of the little things, kind of one thing I never really mentioned, and it's kind of, obvious, but just in case you didn't see it, you can edit any of these. So maybe you run that and you come back and your wife corrects you because she knows the numbers way better than you do and says, that's not a 2.99% interest rate. That car was 3.99. Oh, yep, my bad. So you come in here, you can update that and save it back. Oh, my monthly payment is off. And then it updates it. So you can update things. Maybe you magically don't have the loan and you forgot that you had that car loan. You can go ahead and delete it. You can add a bunch of different things. One of my favorite things is as you're adding these, you get to see your total actual balance right here. So you can see total debt balance. So maybe you have, another mortgage on one of your rental properties. It was a 30-year. Interest rate is 4.5. Original balance was $250,000. You currently owe $200,000 or $20,000. Look, typing a lot of zeros is hard. Okay, you try it. Actually, don't try it because then you're going to see how easy it is, and then you'll just make fun of me, and that's rude. Total actual balance is $520,000. So I really like that you can see all of that. It's important to note the difference between loans and lines of credit. If you try and put a loan in the line of credit side, it's going to get really confusing because you don't have a credit limit on loans and vice versa. I hope that by the time you're using this app, or if anybody has questions about how to use this app to you, you've watched the Velocity Banking class and you understand the difference between lines of credit and loans. My only concern about that is I've talked to bankers who don't get the difference. How many of you, I mean, you can't raise your hand and I can't see you, so I don't care. So answer this to yourself. But how many of you have gone and talked to a bank and you say you want a line of credit and they try and give you loans over and over and over again? They don't get the difference. So if you ever share this app with a banker, make sure to explain to them the difference between lines of credit and loans so they know to put which ones on which pages. And then income. So the income part is really fun because now it used to be that you just kind of took your monthly pay or your total monthly income. Now you could add 2 or 3 or 4 different incomes. Maybe you have your main job, your spouse has their main job, and then you also have a side job, or you have some other way that you make money, or rental income, would be pretty popular in the Renatus community. You may have all these different rent incomes that you want to be able to add into here and be able to stack up all your different incomes. And then you can see your total monthly income up here in the corner and make sure that that's on par with what's real for you in life. And then here you can also add a bunch of them. And then so on the left-hand side here, something that's fun is this icon kind of shows you that this isn't a budget expense item versus your debt. So you don't think, oh, well, I need to get rid of this because I don't need to add that. It lets you know this, you already added on the other screen. We're just bringing it over here for you. In the results, something I wanted to go over on the results, which I guess I have to do this part again. I changed one of these results are not going to be good. I changed our loan amounts and I did not change the living or the income to match. So I'm going to go ahead and update this one here, because if they have another house that's bringing in rent income, then they should be making more a month. I don't know how much more a month, but they should. And we do the whole debt reduction amount again. Actually, I want to show you something. Actually, never mind. I'm going to show you this thing first, then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you one other thing that would be something you're used to if you've ever seen the class or seen me present around the country. So come to result summary, and on here, these circles represent every time you pay off a debt. So that's something important to note, kind of where your debts are getting paid off at. So here you're paying off a debt immediately because of that $1,000 debt you had on the credit card, and so forth and so on. So that's just something to kind of note when a debt gets paid off. Now I wanted to show you, because some of you may be thinking, hey, I've watched the class or I've listened to you teach before, and what works for me or what I think is going to work for me is actually a home equity line of credit replacement, where I'm going to replace my entire mortgage with a home equity line of credit. So we're going to come in here, and let's say you're going to replace this mortgage, the one with the $250,000 original balance, with a home equity line of credit, because it just makes sense in your situation. And to know if that makes sense, watch the class or listen to me teach somewhere. Don't go do that without actually being educated on that. But let's say for you, that makes sense to replace your mortgage with a home equity line of credit. So you come in here, and we're actually going to edit this home equity line of credit to have a limit of $250,000. Okay, it doesn't. Right. Okay. And then when we come in here to the action to pick your Velocity bank account, you're going to pick this HELOC. And when you pick the HELOC, you can put in an amount actually the chunking amount to the amount. So say we keep with that $15,000, but here you can see that you get to pick some of these debts that are going to be paid off with the initial draw of this HELOC, or that you're just going to roll into this HELOC. And in this case, you could pay off this entire mortgage with this home equity line of credit. So that's just telling the calculator, we're automatically going to roll $200,000 from this mortgage. It's going to be paid off instantly. I no longer have to make this $1,300 a month payment, and all that debt is now going to be on the home equity line of credit. And you can even roll into this one into it if you wanted as well. But now when we run it, we'll just get slightly different results because of kind of what we're doing. In fact, actually, yeah. Okay, so now you'd pay off those debts then, and then later you would work on the mortgage, the other mortgage. Okay, so one other thing to note on this app, which is important for you and to let other people know as they use it, and it was listed on the very front page. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and close this and reopen it. I already told you how much I like opening the app. But when you're on the front page, it mentions down here, and you may not be able to read this depending on how good the video quality is, but it says, disclaimer, your financial information will not be saved, but your name and email will be saved. So it's important to note that the financial information you put into this app are not being saved. It's not being saved up to the cloud anywhere. It's not being even saved on your own phone. In fact, you just saw I closed the app and reopened it, and all that information is gone. It doesn't even know who I am anymore. I didn't make a very good impression on it, so it doesn't remember me. So I have to put all this in again. And we're starting with a blank slate. So it's just important to know that people may get concerned about them, maybe say, oh, I don't want, Renatus to have all of my financial information. That's not what we're doing. We're not collecting people's debt amounts and bank amounts, and then we're going to use it to sell them on loan products. It's just for their own information, and you also shouldn't be saving any of that information for them either. It's their own financial information. They need to have it, not you. Okay, so this is usually the part of my presentation where I ask any questions, but you guys can't. I guess there technically is a way for people to send in questions, but. Okay, so that's kind of the Velocity Banking Calculator. Again, I'm really excited about this. It's an amazing tool for each of you, as well as your guests, to be able to use. To figure out your own financial situation. It's really easy to use, so hopefully now you don't have to, I get a lot of calls and emails, people asking me how to use the calculator. I get that the Excel calculator was a little complicated. I think this is going to be easier, and hopefully you guys are going to be able to do this a lot quicker on the fly whenever you need to run your own situation. You can show people how to get the app, how to download it. They can run their situation. It'll be a great tool to use. Velocity Banking is amazing. There's a reason I'm so passionate about it. I think most of you have heard my story before, so I'm not going to go into the full details of it, but it is something that changes lives. There are so many people out there that are just swamped in debt and they see no way out. They think they're going to have this student loan or this house loan for years and years. We all know that most Americans refinance or upgrade their house every 5 to 7 years. Very few people, less than 1%, ever make it to paying off a mortgage. And we just don't want that. At Renatus, we believe in every person being financially free, and a huge key part of that is being completely debt-free. And so hopefully with the strategies, with the class now coupled with this app, this calculator, we're going to be able to reach people a lot faster, and a lot more of you will be able to see how this can benefit you in your lives and be able to actually start implementing it right now. So thank you, Bob, for having me out. I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm super excited for the app. Thank you for having the home team develop it and build it. For years I've wanted this and I just didn't know how to do it myself. I'm very, very excited and very grateful that it has finally reached the masses, and now we have an amazing tool for everybody to use.
Well, Randall, thanks, man. Thanks for your inspiration. Thanks for coming on out here and sharing with everybody, how this great little tool works. Now, let me remind everybody, a tool is what any professional uses to increase the speed, efficiency, and profitability with which they get the job done. This is a great tool. It's also a fantastic attention getter. Our business is so much about piquing interest and creating value. It really is. Velocity Banking, especially Renatus Velocity Banking, has an opportunity to really pique a person's interest, but also identify a need that just about everybody in this country has. They want to pay off their mortgage, they want to pay off their credit cards, they want to pay off their cars, they want to pay off everything. They want to accelerate the path to financial independence, because when you finally have enough money coming in above and beyond your expenses, you're financially free. We've got an opportunity with this app to demonstrate how they could accelerate that path. That's the beauty of it. Now, you can use this by, saying, listen, I've got this fantastic little tool. Join me on this webinar, and after the webinar, I'll get with you and I'll show you how to download that app. Or you can say, come on over to our Thursday night presentation, and just for attending, I'm going to give you a present that you will thank me for life. It's our Renatus Velocity Banking app. And as you go through and you demonstrate the app, you want to make sure that they download the app on their mobile device, that they go in and consent to the terms of use and put in their email information, and that they also put in all of their financial information. Don't be picking that out for them. Make sure that they do it. Having that tactile experience where they get to, download it, consent, go through the program means that we're doing things right in terms of an enrollment process for people getting this app. But then when they put in their own financial information, it's teaching them how to use the app so that they can go home and demonstrate it to others as well. Our business is all about the process of duplication. So don't take that learning opportunity away from them just because you think that it's going to speed up the process and it's just going to be more efficient. It might be more efficient, but it is not more effective. Allow your guests to go through this experience. Don't put the numbers in for them. And then when they finally have this aha moment at the end of it, guess what you're going to do? You've had another incredible impact on their interest in learning more about Renatus. And it's time to invite them back to the next event and then the next event until they eventually go, I'm in, let's do this thing. Because when the value of our education, our tools, our business overcome their concept of cost or price, that's when they're in. So let's go out and make the best of it. I'll tell you what, it's been a fantastic founders webinar. I can't wait to, dig into this app and myself a whole lot more. I've been on the testing side of it. Now that it's available, or I should say almost available, I can't wait for you guys to enjoy it. Pay attention to your emails, but I've got a really, really, really good idea that by the time you get to your Thursday night presentations, you'll be able to start enjoying this wonderful tool. All right, everybody. It's been a great Founders webinar. Thanks to Randall. Thanks to our featured stories. Good night, and God bless, everybody. Bye-bye now.